Howdy, parents. I want to give you a brief tutorial on how to log in to Google Classroom for the first time and get familiar with it. So what we're going to do is, I'm on a Mac here, but this is basically going to work the same for almost any device you're on. Of course, it's going to look a lot different depending on if you're a PC or Mac or what browser you use. But basically, we're going to open up our web browser, and I've got it bookmarked here. But if you want to go ahead and type in, you can search for Google Classroom, and you're going to see that it's classroom.google.com. So we're going to click that. I'm going to go here, and I just want to point out that for me this time it actually logged me in as me. But if you're like me and you've got multiple Google accounts, then it may actually try and default to logging you in as someone else. And so what you might have to do, it might tell you you're not able to log in when you get the invite and all this kind of stuff. Go here and click on this and then choose the correct account. And for me, it's going to be Darren Hibbs at thedanielacademy.com. Your students, whatever you and your students have been given access to, the email address that you received your invitations from, that's the one you're going to need to log into this with. Other email addresses, it's not likely going to let you in. So just be aware of that as you're logging in. And I'm a teacher, obviously, and so we've been working on setting some of these things up. But here's a test class that Mr. Lee set up for me. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. If this was your first time, you would have an invitation once you log into Google Classroom. It would actually have a place right here on this icon for you to say join the class. And it's as easy as that. Once you log in and say join, then you're going to see it like this. You click here, and this is what you're going to see as a parent or a student. There are three main tabs here. You've got your stream, your classwork, and the people in your class. Your stream is where any assignments that your teacher posts are going to show up. They're all going to show up right here, and it will just be a unified stream of information. Any communication that your teacher shares with the class is going to show up there. Assignments, as they are assigned, they will show up here as well. If you want to go to the individual assignments, and also any upcoming work will show up over here. If you want to go see the actual assignments themselves, and again, the stream is where you're going to see all communication. The classwork is where we're going to see only assignments and materials that are posted that you might need, and they will show up here, and teachers can organize that however they want to. Individual assignments, as you finish them, they should start to disappear from here. There will be quizzes and things like that. You can also look at the Google the Google Classroom Drive folder. Any resources that are available for that class will be there. If you click there, it's going to take you to the Google Drive for that classroom. There's nothing here yet. And again, this is all going to be populated right now. We're still working on building all these things, but I wanted to give you a brief tutorial on what this is going to look like just to get you familiar with it. You also have Google Calendar here. If I click on that, it's going to show you any, it's going to add me since it's the first time I've logged in here. I'm going to add that. It's going to add it to my calendar list over here. And for all of your classes, you say add, and anytime you log in to Google Calendar, it's going to have all of them over here ready for you to go to see everything in one unified place. You can always turn these things on or off over here if you want to see more or less, but that's where you're going to go to see any assignments and things like that that get assigned. They're going to show up on your calendar as well, linked to your Google Classroom account. If you use Google Calendar for other things, those might not necessarily be brought into this calendar. So just be aware of that. This is going to be only your Google Classroom assignments and things like that, unless you specifically individually go through and add other calendars from your other Google accounts to this. And then you've got people. You'll be able to see your teachers and anyone who has teacher administrative access to this, and then you should be able to see other students as well. But you can always go, so for this, Mr. Lee is my contact, my teacher here, so I can always send him an email, and it's going to open up the Gmail account for whatever account that you've logged in, and you can send a message directly to him for that. Everything within the Google ecosystem is very well integrated, but be mindful if you have multiple, like many people do, multiple Google accounts. Just be mindful that you're in the account that you were sent your initial login for, because that's going to be the one that you log into Google Classroom with. If you begin to forget and accidentally log in with other accounts, it can get a little confusing. So just be mindful of that. But this is basically the brief overview of the classroom environment. It's pretty streamlined. It should be fairly easy to see. And again, if you want to go back to all of your classes, you click on this and hit classes. You've also got your calendar. Any to-do items for all of your classes will be here. But if we go to classes, any student or parent can see all of the classes that they have available. One more thing that I want to mention is if you click on Google Apps, you'll have links to things here that we might be using, Google Docs, Sheets, and Slides, as well as the calendar, Gmail, and the master drive for any individual student will be there. Google Meet, that's something that we'll be adding in week 2 for interactivity. And so that's another place that you can go to get to that application. This is all, of course, from a desktop computer. If you've got a mobile device, it's of course going to be app-based, and each one of these services that I've been showing you, Google Classroom, Mail, Calendar, Meet, Sheets, Docs, Slides, all of those things are individual apps. And so what will happen when you open them, if you're in a Google Classroom app on an iPad or a mobile device, if you click on a calendar or a doc, it's actually going to kick you out of Google Classroom into the respective apps that you're trying to open. So be mindful of that. You'll probably want to get all of these apps on any mobile devices that your students will be using.